Somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for rights.
As Dr. King reminded us, the time is always right to do what is right. We now turn to a very special moment in today's celebration. The city of Ottawa reaffirms its commitment to the values of justice, equality, and unity. Principles that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. championed throughout his life. It is my honor to invite Mayor Mark Sutcliffe to present the official proclamation in recognition of Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in Ottawa. This proclamation is a powerful reminder that Dr. King's dreams continues to guide us as we walk toward a more inclusive and equitable society. Please join me in welcome Mayor to the podium along with Bishop Bruno and Sister Bruno, who will accept the proclamation on behalf of Ottawa Church of God.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Je suis très heureux d'être ici avec vous cet après-midi. And look, it's really an honor for me to join you once again this year to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in Ottawa. And I'm not sure why everybody's still standing up, by the way. You can all please take your seats. Yeah. Please relax. Look, I want to start by thanking everybody who helped put this wonderful celebration and ceremony together. The DreamKEEPERS team, thank you for recognizing the impact that Dr. King has had on all of us. Today's speakers, Bishop Jean Bruno, thank you for opening your doors for today's celebration. The associate pastors, the members of this congregation, thank you to all of you for holding the memory and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in your hearts. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge my colleagues from Ottawa City Council who are here, Teresa Kavanaugh, and Ralston King, who has been a great leader in the area of equity and fighting racism in our community. We're very grateful, Ralston, for your leadership and collaboration on those issues. I want to thank all of you for the work that you do to put Martin Luther King Jr.'s teachings into practice here in this church and throughout the community. Merci pour avoir mis ces enseignements en pratique, ici, dans cette église et dans toute notre ville. A few years ago, I was in San Diego. It was actually right before the pandemic, so it was about 6 years ago. And I was walking along the Martin Luther King Jr. promenade with my family. And along that promenade are some of Dr. King's most well-known quotes etched into stone along the pathway. And I took some time with my son to read each of them as we were walking. Une de ces citations m'a particulièrement marqué. One of those really stood out to me. Dr. King said, "The ultimate measure of a man, I'll say person, is not where he or she stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he or she stands at a time of challenge and controversy." And I often reflect back on those words, what they mean for me and what they mean here in our community at this time. This is a challenging time in the world, in our country, in our city. There are lots of big things going on. And many people are experiencing hardship in our community, whether it's the rising cost of living or food insecurity, challenges in finding an affordable home, people who are living in a new city or a new country, people who are struggling with their mental health. It is a tough time for a lot of people, but as Dr. King said, we are not defined by the adversity that comes our way. What matters is what we choose to do to overcome it, as individuals and as a community. So today, let's make a choice. Let's make a choice to show respect and kindness to those around us, even in hard times. Let's choose to see the humanity in others, no matter what their struggles are. Let's choose to lift them up as best we can. Let's make every effort to show that we care and we are prepared to make a difference, just as Dr. King did. So now I would like to read the proclamation, special proclamation for today. Whereas Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. committed his life to promoting justice and equality and to ending the injustice of racism through nonviolent social change. And whereas the City of Ottawa strives to be an open and welcoming community, embracing and respecting all cultures, races, and religions, and takes pride in celebrating multiculturalism. And whereas the African Canadian community of Ottawa, proud of its culture and contribution to the nation's capital, reveres and respects the third Monday in January as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And whereas DreamKEEPERS has led the annual celebration of Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Ottawa for more than 20 years, with the 2026 observance being hosted here by the Ottawa Church of God. Therefore, I, Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, do hereby proclaim January 19th, 2026, Martin Luther King Jr. Day in Ottawa. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. And maybe I'll ask my colleagues to come up and join for this photo, please.
Thank you, Mayor Sutcliffe, for the meaningful proclamation. We truly appreciate your leadership and your commitment to ensuring that the values of Dr. King stood for justice, equality, and unity continue to shine in our city. As Dr. King said, everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Continuing in the spirit of engagement and community, we now celebrate the power of youth leadership. The Youth in Service Award honors young people who are making a meaningful impact and reminded us that the future is bright when guided by purpose. Please join me in welcoming Elder June Garvin, President of Black History Ottawa, to present the DreamKEEPERS June Garvin Youth in Service Award for 2026, along with the Mayor.
Friends, members of Dr. Martin Luther King's beloved community, there is a plaque at the Canadian Tribute to Human Rights on Mandela Square outside of City Hall, across the road from Oscar Peters's memorial at the National Arts Centre. That plaque and the words on the plaque tell us about the community in which we live. The plaque reads, "All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They're endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status." Martin Luther King and John Peters Humphrey, who wrote those words, would have been kindred spirits. John Humphrey is one of ours. He's a Canadian who wrote the first draft of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights. He is the person that Nelson Mandela called the father of modern human rights. And so I'm very honored to have been asked by DreamKEEPERS. Well, first of all, honored that DreamKEEPERS would put my name on our Youth in Service Award. And then honored that I'm standing here to introduce to you Vanessa Baptiste. Because Vanessa Baptiste is carrying the legacy of people like John Humphreys, Mandela, Oscar Peterson, and Martin Luther King. Vanessa Baptiste is a purpose-driven servant, leader, whose work constantly places community needs above self-interest. Grounded in strong spiritual and ethical values, she understands leadership as an obligation to serve, protect, and uplift others, particularly youth and marginalized communities, through action, accountability, and moral courage. Her service to community is most evident in her leadership to the Association of Ottawa, where she played a pivotal role in expanding educational access and strengthening diaspora engagement. As lead host of the Independence Gala fundraiser and lead youth on the Scholarship Program Planning Committee, Vanessa helped mobilize critical resources that directly supports post-secondary opportunities for youth in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. She fosters cultural pride, unity, and intergenerational connection. Vanessa has demonstrated exceptional commitment to public service through elected leadership. She represents over 25,000 undergraduate students as Vice President of Finance for the Carleton Universities Association. In this role, she championed fiscal transparency, safeguarded students' resources, and strengthened the financial supports of students impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring fairness, access, and accountability within student governance. Her dedication to service extends beyond campus into the broader civic and cultural landscape. She is Assistant Treasurer to the Ottawa Symphony Orchestra. Vanessa provides steady financial stewardship during a period of uncertainty for community arts organization. She supports cultural accessibility. She's a sustaining power of the arts within the National Capital Region. In every role she assumes, Vanessa leads with empathy, leads with integrity, leads with unwavering commitment to justice. Her service builds trust, empowers others, strengthens communities. She embodies Dr. Martin Luther King's vision of the beloved community, the highest ideals of the DreamKEEPERS June Gervin in Service Award. And I must say that in reading about Vanessa, I think she is a person in whom Dr. Martin Luther King would be very proud as she carries his legacy. John Humphreys would be very proud as she carries his legacy. Thank you so much, Vanessa. You're setting the stage for Ottawa to become a human rights community. Thank you.
Happy Monday, everybody. My name's Vanessa, and the V stands for volunteerism. I have been an avid volunteer since high school, and it's been because of my parents, because of my Ottawa family here, and my Vinci family showing me the way of what it means to be a leader in the communities that you reside in, whether it's Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, or the international community. It's an honor to be given this award. I did not expect to receive it because I don't feel honored to receive it, because I see leaders in front of me, leaders around me, and those that have committed themselves in greater, more sacrificial ways than I ever could and than I aspire to be. It's once again an honor to stand here in front of you, and I feel as if my work is not done. I'm only 26, turning 27 on February 20th, save the date. but my work continues on to support those that need a voice, to support those that need clarity and need support in their community in every issue they face. So once again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'll just keep it short, and all the best. I hope to see each of you soon in passing. Thank you.
Continuing with our inspiring awards, we now present the DreamKEEPERS Chris Harris Citation for Outstanding Leadership, the oldest of the 4 awards presented today, a tradition that has honored excellence for over 2 decades, sponsored by Dr. James Harris. This award is named after Chris R. Harris, and for people who may know Chris R. Harris, he's an extraordinary champion for equality and tireless advocate against anti-Black racism. His work continues to inspire leaders who stand boldly for justice and inclusion. Now, please help me welcome Yolanda Banks, who will join Dr. Harris here to introduce our 2026 awardee.
Thank you very much, Suzette. Good morning, good afternoon, Mayor, and to Bishop Bruno, to everyone assembled here. So happy to see so many of you, and the weather's not so great. It is indeed a distinct pleasure to present Eldon Holder Sr., the DreamKEEPERS recipient of the Chris Harris Citation for Outstanding Leadership, Ottawa Influencer Award. I'll tell you a little bit about Eldon, but I have to say I shortened his bio, so there's so much more to know, and that I could have included, in any errors or omissions are my own. Eldon is widely recognized for exceptional leadership, his steadfast commitment to social justice, and his advocacy for minority rights. Throughout Eldon's career, he has focused on building a more inclusive and equitable society. As Director General of the federal government's Supporting Black Canadian Communities Initiative and the United Nations Decade for People of African Descent, Eldon has led transformative projects, including the creation of the National Black Funders Network and the establishment of a Black Executive Network within the federal government. These initiatives have empowered Black-led organizations and reshaped philanthropy in Canada. Eldon's influence even extends internationally, where he served as the Canadian representative to the International Social Security Association. His dedication to global collaboration underscores his commitment to building a better world for us all. As a champion of Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, Eldon promotes racial harmony, social justice, and the concept of a beloved community. His efforts have increased Black voter turnout, strengthened community voices, and built bridges between organizations, emphasizing the importance of allyship across all races. His humility and impact on Ottawa and beyond position him as a true influencer who inspires positive change and empowers others. The Martin Luther King DreamKEEPERS organization is very pleased to recognize Eldon Holder Sr. with this Chris Harris Citation for Outstanding Leadership, Ottawa Influencer Award. Eldon?
I'm just going to read it in the book.
Yeah.
Okay, this award, DreamKEEPERS Citation for Outstanding Leadership, given to Eldon Holder Sr., dedicated to the building of a more inclusive and equitable society. Your humility and unique leadership is transformative. As a director of the Supporting Black Canadian Communities Initiative, you broke down systemic barriers facing Black Canadians. A champion of social justice, you were instrumental in creating a National Black Founders Network that has empowered Black organizations nationwide. Your leadership was essential in establishing the Black Executive Network and the federal government. For this, and much more. A grateful Ottawa salutes you. January 19th, 2026, DreamKEEPERS, promoting the vision of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Take a picture.
Yes, sure. I had a few remarks, but I'm not that dedicated to them, and I get thrown off by all of this. I want to thank the committee, the organizers, the reserve, the folks in the reserve section, Mayor, and I see friends all over this place, but I've got my reserve section back there, okay? And so I want to give a shout out to all the friends who kind of surprised me today. This award was a surprise, obviously. And thinking of myself on a day like this, Martin Luther King Day, and a leader, for those of you who know the journey of Eldon before I was a senior in Ottawa, you'd be going, what a change. Essentially, though, I'm grateful for all of the kinds of work that we do in communities. Those who get to stand in front of the stage, and those hands, including, I see June and I see other folks. I don't want to get into all the names. Folks who I'm much more known as the person behind the scenes. So this is the most uncomfortable kind of space to be in for those of you who know me. It's also a sign that I'm probably getting up there, and so you can't win the youth award. You can't eventually you get to this space where they think, okay, well, he's done enough. And so I want to thank my friends, my colleagues who I see in the federal public service, who took some time today in a busy kind of environment right now. Real longtime friends, my partner and her friends of her parents who are not here to sort of see this, my own. And I just noticed in front of me, my granddaughter showed up all the way from Cambridge. So I don't know if I'm going anywhere after this, but essentially I want to say thank you to the committee. Martin Luther King Day is a day of celebration to have my name sort of connected in any way to the work that he's done. The mayor talked about the idea to come in comfort, but the struggle, the leadership is a struggle you force, that you forge, and to be a part of that work. I want to honor both my parents who have taught us from very, very young about leadership. Is to not to argue about who leads, just lead. And I've tried to carry that in most of the things I do. And I look forward to continue to work with all of you on the kind of big needs, big issues of our country, of our city. And oh my God, I'll end here because I see people coming in as I turn my eyes and it becomes like a wedding, you know, like. So thank the committee, thank you, Suzette. And once again, the work of Martin Luther King Day on the day that is his birthday is something that I'm just thrilled to be a part of. Thank you.
Congratulations, Eldon. Your work truly embodies the spirit and work of Chris Harris' leadership rooted in courage, integrity, and a commitment to equity. Well deserved, my friend. Moving along. Now we come to one of the most prestigious honors of the day, the DreamKEEPERS Honorable Jane Augustine Lifetime Achievement Award. This award bears the name of the Honorable Jane Augustine, a true trailblazer whose contributions have left an indelible mark on Canadian history. She was the first Black woman elected to Canada's House of Commons and the driving force behind establishing Black History Month in Canada. Her lifelong commitment to education, equity, and social justice make this award a fitting tribute to her remarkable legacy. Let's call upon Shakira Prince now to introduce the 2026 recipients of this distinguished award.
Thank you, Suzette, and good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everyone here celebrating Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day. My name is Shakira Prince. I'm the 2025 June Gervin DreamKEEPERS Youth in Service Award recipient. I'm honored to introduce Dr. Nafisa Ismail, this year's recipient of the Honorable John Augustine DreamKEEPERS Life Achievement Award for 2026. Dr. Ismail is a professor, researcher, and mentor at the University of Ottawa. Go GGs. She leads the neuroimmunology, stress, and endocrinology lab, where she guides students through cutting-edge molecular and behavioral research techniques. Dr. Ismail is a nationally recognized leader in mental health and is deeply committed to advancing women's health research, an area that has historically received limited attention. Her groundbreaking work explores why women are twice as likely as men to experience depression and investigates the effect of birth control pills on brain structure and function. Specifically, her research reveals that using oral contraceptives, especially during adolescence, can increase vulnerability to stress and elevate the risk of depression later in life. Beyond her research, Dr. Ismail has chaired numerous administrative and grant review committees, fostered strong international collaborations, and committed to several national and global initiatives. She previously co-led both the Memory and Cognition and Mental Health groups of the University of Ottawa's Brain and Mind Institute. She now serves as director of the Life Research Institute, where she leads a multidisciplinary network of researchers, community partners, and industry collaborators, dedicated to supporting Canadians to live long, live well, and live with voice and with choice. As a member of the Global Young Academy, Dr. Ismail co-led the Women in Science Working Group for 2 years. In that role, she championed women in scientific careers, secured funding for leadership development workshops, and worked to inspire more women and girls to pursue and thrive in STEM fields, demonstrating her continued commitment to gender equality worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Nafisa Ismail as the recipient of the Honorable John Augustine DreamKEEPERS Life Achievement Award for 2026, as she accepts this well-deserved honor.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, Mayor Mark Sutcliffe, community leaders, families, young people, and everyone who has come here today to honor that dream that still lives amongst us. It is such an honor to be here at the DreamKEEPERS 21st Martin Luther King Day celebration. Thank you so much for having me. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for this incredible honor. I am deeply grateful to be here today as the 2026 Honorable Jean Augustine DreamKEEPERS Life Achievement Award recipient. To be recognized in a space that celebrates the life, legacy, and values of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is truly humbling. I never imagined my work would be acknowledged this way. I would like to offer a very special thank you to Amin Keshavji, who put my name forward for this recognition and took the time to advocate on my behalf. I'm also deeply grateful to the members of the selection committee for believing in the impact of my work and for considering me worthy of this special award. This award is particularly meaningful because it bears the name of the Honorable Jean Augustine, a true trailblazer and champion for equity, education, and social justice here in Canada. To be associated with her legacy and to join The remarkable group of past recipients who embody the values that guided Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life is an honor that I do not take lightly. Dr. King once said, "Everybody can be great because everybody can serve." You don't have to have a college degree. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. Throughout my career, my work has been driven by a commitment to justice and by championing equity, diversity, and inclusion in all that I do. From advocating for women's health research, to promoting mental health, to mentoring early career researchers, particularly young women around the world, and to disseminating knowledge and translating research into the community, I have consistently sought to make a positive and meaningful impact. I strongly believe that science must serve everyone, and I strive to ensure that my work reflects this principle. None of this, of course, would be possible without the incredible support of those who surround me. I am deeply thankful to my precious family, my husband, my parents, my daughters, my friends, colleagues, students, and everyone, past and present, who has been part of my journey, inspiring me, challenging me, and working alongside me in the pursuit of knowledge and impact. Science is not a solitary endeavor. It is a community effort. So this recognition belongs to all of you as well. Once again, thank you to the DreamKEEPERS organization for this extraordinary honor. I am truly grateful and inspired to continue this work. Thank you.
Congratulations, Dr. Ishmael, on receiving this prestigious award. Your dedication, leadership truly reflect the values and vision the award represents: education, equity, and a lifelong commitment to community development. At this time in our program, we're going to turn our attention, and I need your undivided attention, to our keynote remarks. At this time, it gives me great honor to call on Sister Renee Bruno to introduce our keynote speaker.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here at the Ottawa Church of God. It is truly an honor to have Martin Luther King DreamKEEPERS Day today at our church, and we just love having you with us today, and we are very appreciative. Jean-Marie Guerrier is a cardiology technologist at the Ottawa Heart Institute. When he is not reading EKGs, analyzing heart monitor exams, or working with other cardiac monitoring devices, he is focused on the pulse of his community through his leadership and service with Black History Ottawa, with Flow Seniors, and with the CETSO. As Vice President and Treasurer of Black History Ottawa, Jean-Marie has helped develop initiatives that bring history and culture to life, including the Black History in Ottawa Streets bus tour, which is a unique experience that shares untold stories with residents and visitors alike, strengthening public knowledge and awareness of the presence and contributions of Black Canadians in shaping Canada. Jean-Marie's commitment to volunteerism began in his teenage years as a soccer coach in Montreal and continued through his involvement as a youth coordinator in a Haitian community center, Montreal's Cara Fiesta, the Black Theater Workshop, and many other community organizations. A recipient of the United Way Community Builder Award, he is recognized for his passion, creativity, and unwavering commitment to his community. Please let us welcome to the podium our guest speaker for today, Mr. Jean-Marie Guerrier.
Good afternoon, everyone. Distinguished guests, honorees, leaders, elders, the youth in our community, and everybody present here. I feel truly blessed to address you today. But before I begin, I want to extend my deep appreciation for Daniel Stringer, for his leadership, thank our wonderful MC, Suzette Weeks, and also acknowledge the DreamKEEPERS organizing committee for bringing us together for this powerful celebration of service, justice, and legacy. Events like this don't just happen. They are built by people who care deeply about the community. History is not something that we read about only in books. It is something that lives in our streets, in our neighborhoods, and in the everyday choices of ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Every community has a heartbeat, and the question has always been, who is listening and who is willing to respond? And that brings me to this thought. If Martin Luther King had been a medical physician, I think he would have been a great cardiologist. Yes, I know this sounds a little bit biased because I'm in the cardiology field, but hear me out. You see, Dr. King had an extraordinary ability to listen to the heartbeat of a nation. He could sense when the rhythm of society was strong, when it was strained, and when it was in distress. And like the very best physicians, he understood that healing doesn't begin with grand gestures alone. Healing begins with paying attention, with identifying and naming what is wrong, and with committing fully to care. Today, we are recognizing individuals for the work that they have done to serve and uplift their communities. And as we honor them, it is worth pausing and appreciate what truly connects them to the work, to the legacy of Dr. King. And it is not celebrity, it is not power, it is purpose. These are people who saw needs around them, they chose action over comfort, and they built, served, and gave, often without knowing if their efforts would ever be remembered. 3 years ago, with Black History of Ottawa, as mentioned, we launched the Black History in Ottawa Street bus tour. And today, I want to invite everyone to hop on a journey with us, a virtual journey that is, on a Black History Ottawa, on a Black History tour. And this is a tour where we will see that we are surrounded by history, and we benefit greatly from the achievements of people of African descent, often without even realizing it. Our regular tour that we run in the summer, and I must say Vanessa Baptiste came on our tour, and she not only enjoyed the tour, she also organized a tour for a whole company. So we had a whole bus reserved for a company. So when she said that she's volunteers and she's really involved in the community, that's one of the things that she did to make sure that people in the workplace enjoy the tour and learn about Black history. So as I was saying, our regular tour has 28 stops, mostly in downtown Ottawa, Sandy Hill, and Lower Town, and it runs from May to October. But today, just for today, we're going to expand our route, and it's going to take us across North America. Our first stop, we're going to go to Nashville, Tennessee, and Baltimore, Maryland, and be introduced to the story of Dr. Vivian Thomas, a powerful example of purpose-driven service. Born in the segregated American South, Vivian Thomas never earned a formal medical degree. And we heard Dr. Ismail say you don't need a college degree. Well, he never earned a formal degree, yet he worked as a laboratory technician and surgical research assistant at Vanderbilt University and then Johns Hopkins Hospital. Despite his brilliance, he was classified not as a scientist, not as a surgeon, but as a janitor, because that was the only title the system would allow him to hold. And yet, when lives were on the line, it was his hands, it was his mind, it was his innovation that changed the course of medical history. Dr. Thomas helped develop the surgical procedure that saved the lives of countless children born with what was known as blue baby syndrome. In 1944, the first successful operation was performed. For decades, the procedure was known as the Blaylock-Taussig shunt. Even though Vivian Thomas was essential to its creation and execution, recognition for him did not come right away. Yet, still, surgeons relied on him, hospitals depended on him, children lived because of him. It was only in 2023, nearly 88 years later, that the procedure was formally renamed the Blaylock-Taussig Thomas shunt. So Dr. Vivian Thomas' story reminds us that service is not always visible in the moment, but its impact can echo for generations. Our next stop brings us closer to home. We're going to go to downtown Ottawa at the National War Memorial, a site that honors Canadian military sacrifice. Here, we share the remarkable story of Ethelbert Curley Christian. During the Battle of Vimy Ridge in the First World War, Curley Christian suffered a catastrophic injuries. He lost all 4 limbs. He became the only quadruple amputee to survive World War I. Think about that for a moment. At a time when disability carried deep stigma, when supports were limited, and when Black veterans faced discrimination, even in recognition of their service, no one would have blamed Curley if he had withdrawn from public life. But no, he did the opposite. He chose service. During his rehabilitation, Curley met a volunteer aide named Cleopatra McPherson, and they actually fell in love and they married in 1920. Together, they successfully petitioned the federal government for better support and became deeply involved with the Canadian War Amps, advocating for veterans and others living with limb loss. Curley worked to ensure dignity, access, and respect for those whose bodies bore the cost of service. His injuries did not diminish him, they clarified his purpose. The legacy of service of Curley Christian and his wife Cleopatra extended to the next generation when their son Douglas went on to serve as a sailor in the Second World War. Like Dr. King, Curley Christian understood that adversity can either harden us or awaken our compassion. He listened to the pain around him and responded with care. For our next stop, we're going to be going to Lower Town to the site of the first Brown's Cleaners, founded by Herbert and Estelle Brown. In an era when barriers to Black entrepreneurship were immense, they built more than a business. They built stability, they built pride, they built a community hub. Their work reminds us that economic empowerment is also social justice, and that creating opportunity for others is one of the most powerful forms of community care. The Browns did not allow limitations to define them. Instead, we remember them for their vision and their generosity. Our final stop takes us to Kingston, Ontario, and the legacy of Robert Sutherland. Born to parents who had escaped enslavement, Robert Sutherland became the first Black graduate of Queen's University. That achievement alone is extraordinary, but what makes this story truly remarkable is what he chose to do next. When Sutherland died in 1878, he left his entire estate to Queen's University, a gift equivalent to the university's annual operating budget at the time. His donation quite literally saved the institution from financial collapse. At a time when Black students were routinely excluded from higher education, Robert Sutherland invested not just in a university, but in a future where he might never fully see. His gift was an act of faith, a declaration that education should endure, expand, and belong to generations to come. So these stories of the Browns, of Vivian Thomas, of Curly Christian and his wife, of Robert Sutherland, and so many others, teach us something essential about legacy. Dr. King showed us that greatness is not measured by how loudly your name is spoken, but by how deeply your work touches others. Healing a community, like healing a heart, requires patience, skill, and commitment. It requires listening before acting and courage to act when the need is clear. Today, as we honor the recipients of the Martin Luther King Jr. Award, we are reminded that history is not only something we inherit, it is something we practice. So may we continue to listen to the pulse of our communities. May we choose purpose over comfort. And may we remember that the most lasting change often begins quietly with one person deciding to do good right where they are. And in closing, here is the deepest lesson beneath it all. What others think of you does not define you. A lack of title does not define you. A lack of recognition does not define you. Disability does not define you. Only what lives in your heart, your values, your compassion, your willingness to serve truly defines who you are. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Jean-Marie, my brother, for your inspiring remarks. Your words truly capture the essence of our team, the North Star Shining, and reflected the enduring legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King's Jr. work. Thank you once again. And this brings us to our final award for the afternoon, the Michelle Obama Beloved Community Builder Award. Introduced in 2024, the DreamKEEPERS Michelle Obama Beloved Community Award honors an individual or group that is an international influencer, someone whose works fosters unity, justice, and global impact. Yeah, Elizabeth December, who will introduce our 2026 recipient of this prestigious honor.
Not that my name is so difficult, but that's quite all right. It is certainly my distinguished privilege to introduce Meredith Preston McGee, and I want to add, before I get into your bio, how thankful I am for those who dedicate their lives to that work of spreading peace, not only in a place where there are, we would say where you reside or where you're from, but to do that work internationally in difficult places during hard times. Meredith's bio will speak to that work. So today we recognize Meredith Preston McGee, Secretary General of the Global Center for Pluralism, whose career exemplifies dedication to peace, inclusion, and global understanding. As the center's leader, Meredith Preston McGee has forged partnerships with governments, civil society, and communities worldwide, championing the values of pluralism and respect for diversity. With more than 20 years of experience in conflict resolution, Meredith has been a driving force in peace negotiations and dialogue across Africa and Asia. Her work has empowered indigenous communities, guided national conversations in Kenya, and supported mediation efforts in Nigeria, Ethiopia, and Sudan. Through these efforts, Meredith has helped build bridges where divisions once stood. Prior to joining the Global Center for Pluralism, Meredith Preston McGee served as Africa's Regional Director at the Center for Humanitarian Dialogue, leading complex mediation initiatives and contributing to lasting peace in challenging environments. Her distinguished service with the United Nations in Sudan and South Sudan, as well as ongoing contributions to global policy and education, including inspiring audiences at TEX, and I personally sat through your presentation. Thank you. They all reflect a lifelong commitment to making the world a more just and inclusive place. Meredith Preston McGee holds academic credentials in military and international history from the University of British Columbia and in global security from Keele University in the UK. Join me in congratulating and welcoming Meredith to the podium.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm a little overwhelmed by those lovely, lovely words from Elizabeth and for receiving this award. A huge thank you to DreamKEEPERS for recognizing me. I feel like an acknowledgement like this is even more important in the divided times that we live in. That this act of building community is itself right now an act of resistance. And I think an act of resistance that Dr. King would have approved of. And pluralism is really central to this resistance and to how we resist well, and we resist in a way that unites us. These acts of resisting division and pushing back against the idea that if you and I don't align, we can't collaborate, and we can't see the humanity in one another. Pluralism and community help us to reject the premises of division and of isolation that are swirling around us. And community is really at the heart of how we ensure that within all of our amazing diversity and the tensions of our differences, that we recognize that we are in community with one another. There's a concept I'm sure many of you are familiar with, a Southern African philosophy of Ubuntu, which really at its heart for me echoes what pluralism stands for and what it means. It's this concept that I exist, I am, because we are, that we have to exist in relationship with one another. It's how societies have been built and prospered for centuries. And I believe it's what we need to find our way back to. I want to dedicate this award, if I may, to the extraordinary community builders and peace builders and pluralist leaders that I have a great opportunity to work with around the world. At the Global Center for Pluralism, we confer an award ourselves every 2 years, the Global Pluralism Award. And what we feel, and what I very much feel today, is that an award is a powerful opportunity for recognition because it says, I see you. I see the work that you're doing, and you're not alone. When we conferred our last Global Pluralism Award last year, one of our recipients, Marcela Sanchez, is the executive director of Colombia Diversa, which is an LGBTQ network in Colombia that builds bridges and engages in dialogue and relationship in spaces where you think it would not be possible. And when Marcela was here, she said, I always feel that I'm in the minority, This is often very lonely work. But when I come together and I see so many leaders doing this work in different spaces, but with the essence really at its core of pluralism and of community, I see that I'm not alone, and that in fact, together, we are the majority. And that's really what pluralism and community building is about, is it's creating this solidarity network to support leaders to do what they're doing, to do it in spaces where it feels perhaps impossible. So I wanted to end just in dedication to these extraordinary leaders. I wanted to leave you with the words of another young leader, Mohammed Adam, who is the founder of the Sudanese Youth Network. I'm sure all of you are following the situation in Sudan, and I'm sure we all know that it is the worst humanitarian crisis on the planet. But it is also a war against democracy. It's a war against community. It's a war against the Sudanese people seeking the government that they themselves deserve. And it's pulled the country apart. And in the midst of that, young people in the Sudanese Youth Network are reaching across divides at great risk and great cost. They're doubling down on community. When I first met Mohammed about 2 years ago in Addis Ababa, I asked him what his vision and what SYN's vision for Sudan was. And he said, they want to build a Sudan that is big enough to hold us all with peace and equality. And I think that's what we can all strive for in our own societies. Mohammed was also with us for our awards ceremony last year. And every time I listen to him, I feel this enormous surge of hope, which feels contradictory given the grave and horrific situation in Sudan right now. But what Mohammed said that day really lifted me up, and so I wanted to leave it with all of you. And he said, we must never lose hope in peace, and we must continue to dream and work for justice and dignity at a time when humanity and peace are being tested. From Sudan, from the heart of pain, hope is born. And from that hope, together, we begin the journey toward peace. So again, on behalf of Mohammed, Marcella, and all of the phenomenal leaders that we work with around the world, I just want to thank you so much for this incredible honor. Un grand merci et chimigwach.
When we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.